Here we are. Welcome to preparing your online course for whatever is going to be thrown at us this year. So we're excited to have you here. I am joined today by Ashley Thomas and Roxanne Sines to help me with this presentation. And we're ready to present this for you. Tara Gruber might be joining us. She's also part of our team, but she's at I think she's still at APSI. So if you would, on your screen, you may want to split your screen so that you can go through the course with me, or you might want to have it pulled up on another device, or you can just follow along as I'm sharing my screen as well. But you are enrolled in the course. We will have you click on some things in a little bit, so it might be good to have it pulled up. So you might notice that the HHS template, this is the new template, it has changed. I'm in student view right now. That way you can see what your students are going to be seeing. You'll notice that all that they are seeing are home, modules, and hack. That way it's limited to just that. There's no confusion on, hopefully no confusion or limited confusion on where to go and where to find your assignments. This is your new header. There's the text box here for you to put what your class is. We added an image, and then these are the two buttons that your students have to choose from. So ours say your team, which is our teacher information page, and then let's get started, which is where your units are. So we're going to click on your team, and here it is, discuss. And then down at the bottom is where you would put your tutorial times, and we don't know how that's working yet, so just do you. And then let's get started is where we're going to go next. So if you're following along on the campus page, we're going to go here. You'll notice that this opens to a unit list, and this is for 8 units. The first unit says optional learning, which is what we're doing right now, and it says current. Since these are text boxes, all you have to do is when you are on a different unit, you'll go into that page, edit the page, and change the title to the unit to the next unit's name dash current. That way students know which they're going to be going to, where they should be, and it shouldn't be too confusing if they're following this more visual approach. So we'll choose optional learning current. Then this brings us to the Unit 1 overview page. Again, the title of your course. You have the ability to create a header here if you would like to kind of jazz it up for your class a little bit. This is where you'll write your overview of what Unit 1 is. And then again, some text boxes over the 8 weeks. Again, whichever week you're on, because they are text boxes, you just need to write current and move that from week to week. This is where at the bottom down here with this little link where you can add additional resources that they're going to need, maybe the textbook that's online, maybe if you're using Google Meet and they're going to be utilizing that, you have it already there for them. And then your standards, your TEKS, your whatever goes in that area. And then we go into week 1 current. I know there seems to be a lot of clicks, but as you know, the modules is the easier way to get to it. But I want to make sure that you see everything so that you can take your students through this too, so that if they get lost or if they aren't sure where to go, that you know how to navigate this. And then, okay, see, I didn't do that right. Week 1 current. So Unit 1, Week 1, we have the date on here. We have essential questions, enduring understandings, and objectives. So this is Monday and Tuesday in the class, what we're going to be doing, and we've divided it up as if it were an A-day, B-day schedule. But you don't have to do that. It could just be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or A-day, B-day, whatever. So again, you have some editing abilities in here for you to change things up and make it work for the way you work. You'll see on Monday, you have an in-class activity, what's due today, and homework for next class. Down at the bottom, there's navigation for them to go backwards or back to the home page altogether. And again, your standards are listed here. Does that make sense to everybody? Thumbs up, you're good, or you have questions, and add them to the chat, of course, the whole entire time as we're doing this, if you need to ask anything. Okay, so before we get into today's stuff, I want to show you the way the modules look if you want that shortcut way, because your kids are probably not going to click the boxes every single time that they get here. And of course, they can just go to the modules, and then this is what's published and available for them. The current week, and then this stuff, and that's it. Okay? So all the other things that are going to be on there, and I'll show you, I'll leave student view here. All the other things are not going to be visible to the student. You might have them in there, but they're not going to be visible. All of these things on this side, all of this navigation is going to be turned off so that they don't need to know if it's a discussion post. They don't need to go directly to it. You can link it into that page. If it's a quiz, they don't need to go directly to it on the site navigation. You can link it in the page. There was a lot of confusion before, and we want everybody to make it nice and easy for everyone, parents, students, you guys as well. Okay. Any questions so far? I know I'm not looking at the chat. So are there any questions so far that we need to talk about, or?
There are 2 questions in the chat right now. Jennifer Jordan asks, during curriculum writing, they told us we didn't need to do the enduring understandings. Do we need to do those?
I don't have any information about that. This is part of the template that we were given for Virtual Academy, and we're using the Virtual Academy template for Heritage as well. That was part of it. I'm guessing that you will get that information when we have staff development and you meet with your content areas.
And Mr. Fain has the question, so we will have separate live and separate virtual classes, correct? If they are co-seated, we can just have one, question mark?
Meaning Canvas courses.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I don't know. I think it depends on how the tiles show up on your dashboard. I don't know how they're putting it into the master schedule, so I don't know what that looks like. But we can always cross-list sections of the classes into one course if necessary, if you want them all as one, or if you want them to be separate. We can keep them separate too, if that makes sense.
It also probably depends on how it's listed in eSchool, if that's what you meant by master schedule, Mandy. If it's broken down in eSchool, it'll be broken down in Canvas more than likely, right?
Exactly. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. eSchool. Because remember, Canvas syncs with eSchool. So whatever it says there, it's going to say here as well. Okay. We ready? All right. I'm going to turn this over to Ashley, and we're going to talk about Google Meet next.
Well, welcome to Google Meet. This may be your first Google Meet. So I'm hoping to have you learn some about it so that way it's not quite as scary and overwhelming to switch over to it. So if you click on Google Meet on our Canvas course, you'll see this here. I put together some extensions that I had found when researching that were really helpful for people. So I just want to talk a little bit about those, then I'll give you kind of a few tips about Google Meet that you can come back at and look at as you're working through that. So for Google Meet extensions, some that I found were Grid View. So typically when you set up your course, it'll be in presentation mode for Google Meet, but you can do a tile mode. However, it only allows up to 16 people to show on your screen. So if you have a class bigger than that, and which you will, and you want to show all of them, you can use Grid View. Now, currently they're updating the app, so it's not working correctly. There is a fix if you want to go download the fix, but then they're going to switch right back to this one when it is fixed in the next couple weeks. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. So if you're trying to make that work, it's not working currently. Nod reactions I really like. I saw a few people have already installed that and are using it. So that's really cool. It enables your students to raise their hand. So if you hit raise hand, you'll want it also as a teacher to have, because if you don't have it on your Chromebook or computer, then you're not going to see what the students are doing with it. But if you have a raised hand, it'll actually show the raised hand and it'll stay there until you exit out. So that's really cool. So if you're in the middle of talking about something and students are raising their hand, you can get to it when you get a chance and then exit out. And then there's also ways, if you have like a quick question, you can do a thumbs up or all different reactions. So if you have that, go ahead and do one of those nod reactions, kind of practice that out. We also have a breakout rooms extension. If you had downloaded the extension that I had on there prior to Sunday night, I did switch it up. The one that I originally had on there was super complicated. This one's a little less complicated. It's not quite as nice as the ones that were in Zoom, but it does work well where it randomizes students and then you give them links to different breakout rooms. It creates those for you. Dual list windows is really helpful if you only have one device. So it'll split the screen so that way you can watch your class while also presenting. And you can also see, of course, what you're presenting and then just present just that one window to your students. Push to talk I thought was helpful for class because students, they don't have to go back and forth between mute and unmute. They can just hit the space bar and when they want to talk, and then once they stop hitting the space bar, then it'll go back on mute. Meet attendance I thought was really helpful because what that is doing is it's actually going to take everyone in your course and it will create a Google Sheet of attendance for who was actually there. So I thought that was really nice as opposed to you having to actually physically go ahead and do that. And then Tactic is really interesting. If you downloaded that, you might actually have captions going on right now. You can turn captions on anyway within Google Meet, but it'll automatically turn it on every Google Meet if you have Tactic. And what it does when the captions are on is it actually creates an entire transcript of your meeting. So I thought that was really neat. You can highlight things throughout the meeting, and then you could share that with your students later if you wanted to, or just to have for yourself. And then for Google Meet tips, I had found a really good just kind of beginner video that'll show you really kind of how it works. So I just saw that Jen Jordan asked about Google Meet versus Zoom. You will be using Google Meet for the virtual synchronous part of teaching this year. So this is going to be the application you'll be using. Just a few tips, and then of course you can look through the rest of those. And if you have any questions about them, feel free to ask about them today or in the future. You can use a nickname when you create a Google Meet. It'll give you an option to create a nickname. What that does is that then enables students not to be able to join the meet when you're not in it. And then a few other things are that if you wanted to have a whiteboard within your Google Meet, you could use things like Jamboard. And also just a few things, make sure to remember to remove any participants at the end of the meeting. You can remove anyone from a meeting. You can mute people, but students cannot do that to others within your Google Meet. So if you have any questions about these, check out the extensions, write questions in the chat, or we also have an opportunity to ask questions on the Canvas course itself under Q&A, that link. So feel free to do that when you get a chance. And we're going to go back to Mandy to learn some more about creating your Canvas course.
Yes, we are. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time because I want to give you time to actually explore that. And there's a lot of content in it. But the DLCs and a few of the DLCs and I have created, put some resources together to create this template help. So as you're going through this and you're like, how do I edit this? How do I do this page? How do I move this around? So as you're working through that, you can take a look at these Canvas best practices and how to, and work through some of this. So think about the organizational structure, which is why we're using modules instead of another type of structure. Talking about unit pages and how to create the unit pages. We're trying to stay away from using buttons, even though I super love buttons, with the image buttons, but screen readers are unable to read the image buttons. And for accessibility reasons, we're staying away from the image buttons for student pages. So you have subcategories. You might see as you were looking through our modules that things were indented. That kind of makes that a subcategory of a category and can help students a little bit with seeing where things are. Of course, it's dating things, calling it all the same name, all the same naming conventions. We're talking about using emojis, just little things that kind of make things pop out a little bit more. I know that you guys have been using Canvas for at least a year, for some of you too, and you know that it looks very plain unless you do some things to kind of jazz it up a little bit. So hyperlinking, I had talked about before, putting the hyperlink to something when you're building the page instead of turning on the site navigation for quizzes, for assignments, for discussions, for things like that. You can hyperlink it directly into the page, which is what we did on our module that we worked through on that one page. That's how we got all those links in there. And they're real quick and easy to do. And that's a demo of how to do it. So of course, disable everything that you can if you don't need it. And these are suggestions on what to enable and what to disable. Right now I have announcements off. Obviously, if you're using announcements with your students, you should turn them on. If you're using Google Drive with your students, you should turn it on. So a couple of tips there. Delete it if you don't need it. Unpublish it if they don't need to see it. And then the biggest thing I think that we have in here is that no matter what device you're using, you need to keep in mind that about 90% of your students are going to be using a mobile device some of the time to work on their course, whether it's just to do a quick little assignment, whether it's to just respond, to do a quiz. They may not pull out an entire Chromebook or laptop to do it. So there is some different functionality on a mobile device than a laptop. If you do not have the Canvas app, can you guys see? Can't see it even. The Canvas app that you can't see on my screen. If you don't have the Canvas app for teacher, student, and parent, I highly suggest that you get at least the teacher one so that you can see what your course looks like as a teacher, which you're going to be able to see it as a student then. So check that out because that's really important to do as well. And that's all I have on that part. So turning it back over, I think this was for Tara, but Ashley, are you going to be doing the modeling tools?
Yes. So we're going to talk about some modeling tools. You've probably played around with some of these, especially back in the spring with e-learning. Some that we recommended are Loom, Screencastify, and WeVideo. So for Loom, what's really great is now the pro version is actually free for teachers and students. So I did put a link in there in case you already have an account to be able to upgrade that to the pro version for free, or if you want to create one. So for Loom, that's easy to use and it's intuitive. There's really no learning curve to it. Obviously, if you need some help, we're here for you with that. You can password protect videos or make them available only for certain email addresses. You can use Loom on your computer. There's also an app for iOS for that. There's no restrictions on how long you record or how many videos you make or store, because now we have that Loom Pro for free for educators. There are 3 options to record. You can record just your face, just your screen, or both. You can embed your videos on Canvas. You can trim your clip so that you don't have to start over if you make a mistake. Others can comment on your video or respond with emojis, which the students usually like to do. And then it is a Chrome extension as well. Then we also have Screencastify. Screencastify is going to be a little bit more, there's more options to edit. You can write on your screen while you're recording it. You can capture your tab, your whole screen, or your webcam. You can embed your webcam anywhere in your recording. You can narrate, you can mouse spotlight. You can also do that actually with an accessibility feature on your Chromebook. The only issue though is that the free version, you can only do up to 5-minute videos. So it might be a good thing to use for kind of a quick, short tutorial video. And then you can upgrade it, but it does cost $49 per year to do so. And then the last one's going to be WeVideo. It's primarily used to edit videos. Like I'm talking like Hollywood caliber kind of features. Like you could do green screen, picture-in-picture, motion titles, audio editing. You can have support for unlimited tracks, tons of stuff. So this is kind of a really cool thing for if your students are creating something or editing or sharing a video, to do that all in one place. It would be kind of a cool thing for your students to be able to use and work through.
And I do have the link. We have WeVideo for Heritage, and I have the link for you guys to use. So if you are interested in using using WeVideo, holler at me, and I can get you guys set up with the full WeVideo, because the district has purchased that as well. So we are going back, and we're going to give you guys some time to work on a choice board activity where you get to do some exploring.
Okay, so if you are not following along with us on the Canvas, this will be the point in time where you want to do that. What we are doing is first we modeled a short lesson for you, and now we want you to put it into practice. That's because this will be kind of what you're going to be doing with your students throughout the year as well. So if you haven't already, go to, Mandy, can you just go back one step for me so I can show them where to find the choice board exactly? So under Unit 1, Week 1, you see Monday and Tuesday, and on the 4th bullet point, or sub-bullet point, I guess, you see choice board. So you're going to click that, and then you'll see a table of options. And these are some of the things that we talked about, like Loom, Screencastify, and WeVideo, and some things that you might find useful in setting up your virtual classroom for the beginning of the year. We did put them into categories for you: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So depending on how comfortable you are with Canvas, you can select which column to work out of. Or if you just want to try a bunch of different ones, go for it. So we're going to give you about 10 minutes. So at 10:35, we're going to come back together after you kind of explore the descriptions, the videos, or articles that you might see on just one of these items. If you have a little bit of time to kind of begin creating something that you'll put into your virtual classroom, then go for it. And then we'll give you the opportunity to share out with us what you have created. So again, at 10:35, we'll come back together. Give me a thumbs up using the Nod extension or in the chat box if you know what I'm talking about, if you understand what you need to do. Okay, I got a couple, thank you. So you can feel free to turn off your camera and put on some music or whatever you want to do while you kind of play with this, and then we'll let you know whenever you have a couple minutes left. Talk soon.
And while you're working through, feel free to ask questions, come back and ask questions, put them in the chat box, whichever you'd like as you're working through. We'll help you out. We'll be here.
Hey, Roxanne, if you can hear me, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. How are you, Sonia?
Rushing. I came in a little late, so I missed the first part. I was having to deal with insurance stuff. But where do I go? I just go to my regular Canvas?
I'll send the link in the chat box and you can join that way.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, guys, let's bring it back in. And Mandy, if you can share your Canvas screen with us one more time. Okay, so we're going to give you the opportunity to share the awesome things that you discovered or read up on, or maybe even had the chance to get started on. And Mandy, if you can go back one screen so that we can show them where to plug that in. Okay, so right under Monday and Tuesday, right under Choice Board, it says Share/Q&A. So you would click on Share, and you can find an assignment where you will let us know what you've discovered. And for the sake of time right now, you can do that later, but for the sake of time right now, is there anyone that wants to share something that they discovered on our awesome choice board that we put together? Everyone's fighting to speak. Okay, that's all right. If you decide you want to share in a few minutes, you can do that. Otherwise, please do plug it in that share button, because we would love to share this with the entire campus, because we know that you're brilliant and creative. So we want to get those awesome ideas out there. But for now, I'll turn it over to Mandy, unless you have any questions about anything you saw on that choice board.
One more quick thing. Roxanne put together some really awesome digital learning resources you can also check out on your own time if you see the link right there. So I really recommend checking that out at another time when you get a chance.
All right, Mandy, it's all yours.
Yeah, I'm just going to close it up because I was also going to talk about the digital learning resources there. So today, as you can see on here on our little lesson, through today is the choice board with the share option. Just click the hyperlink there to get to where you need to go. We also have a Flipgrid that Allison made, and I think all of the optional learning groups are going to be sharing there. So if you have something that you want to share for all of those groups to kind of talk about, please feel free to share that way as well. So share. And if you guys have any questions over any of this regarding the online courses, let us know. I know that we're all in Canvas now, and for some of you guys, you're fine and you're going to get it. And for others, this is completely new and you're a little anxious about it, and that's okay. And you have plenty of time. And remember, you don't have to do this all at once. You don't have to throw your entire year into Canvas all at once. Things are going to be changing as we go. So just kind of be comfortable with that for a little bit, because it's okay. It's okay right now. So we appreciate you guys being here, and make sure that if you found something that you liked, you share it. Make sure to do the choice board, and definitely also tweet it out. So we're going to stay here for a few minutes to answer questions, but other than that, we're going to end the presentation.